So, husband lies about drinking and ends up cheating. What should you do? So, I'm going to talk about a couple of stories here. So, the topics we're going to cover is should you leave or stay with an alcoholic. We're going to talk about dealing with depression after quitting alcohol, and we're going to talk about should you forgive your parents or who should you blame for your alcohol addiction, right? So, Daniel Paulino here, holistic health coach, certified in herbal medicine. If you never heard about me, so this channel is about helping you stay sober, the sober living, free from alcohol, releasing unwanted weight, becoming more fit. And we have a community called the Holistic Health Tribe that is free for the next 250 people. So if you want to be the first to get access to that, click the link below and be a part of that community. So let's read the first question that came in, which goes, my husband lied and gaslit me about his drinking for 20 years. It goes hand in hand. And I know that I should have left, but I love him, and I recently found out he's been engaging in homosexual affairs for the last 3 years. He hasn't been selected with his partners. Some of these encounters took place in our home. I kicked him out. He now blames it on his mental illness, depression, and alcoholism. I filed for a divorce, but now he stopped drinking and is taking medication and has started therapy. Take him back or done is her question. I keep going back and forth. We really had a great life together, and I do know he loves me. Now, so I'm gonna go point by point. The first point I want to say is that ask for God's help and guidance, right? You want to go inwardly and you want to ask from that help from above. The next thing is that past events dictate future trends. So yes, he says that he's quit drinking, that he's taking therapy. You're not there. You said that he moved out, but you really don't know. And like I said, past events dictate future trends. I'm not saying that your past equals your future, but it's a high likelihood that if he doesn't continue to get the help, and if he doesn't get proper help, that he's gonna fall right back. So you have to understand and you have to accept that if you're gonna take him back, you have to know that this comes with the deal, right? And you have to understand that it's never a straight line. Even if he does get the help, success is never a straight line. You're gonna have peaks and valleys, right? But hopefully it's going in an upward trajectory, that it's getting better instead of going and getting worse. So that's the next thing you have to understand, that things can actually get worse. So what would be different this time? I know you said he's doing what he has to do. He started taking medication, therapy, that he's improving. So yes, those are good signs. Ultimately, I cannot tell you whether you should stay or leave. Nobody can tell you whether you stay or leave. And I know you said you've been him for 20 years. So most likely you might end up with him. So I cannot tell you what to do each way, because ultimately you have to make that decision, right? Now, what the next thing you want to think about, what have you tried in the past, right? Has he done therapy in the past? Does he quit? Does he stay consistent? And then also, if you do go back, you might want to build a council of people around you, or before you even do go back, get around people and ask them, should I do it? Should I go back to them? Now, ultimately, you're probably better off keeping your distance, because, it's kind of like a habit that if they don't get the proper help, it tends to get worse. So, but ultimately it's your call. And you have to understand that they need professional help and you're not a professional. So you have to understand that it's not your job to help them. It's your job to be a wife, a mother. Yes, those are your roles, but it's not your job to help them overcome this, right? They need a professional. They need professional help, and you are not a professional. And the next thing I want to talk about for this one is that you really want to focus on yourself, making yourself as healthier as can be, exercising, journaling, prayer, seeking after the wisdom of the Most High, etc. You want to stay tapped into that, because you can really lose yourself, and that's the last thing you want to do. Also, you should potentially decide to get a coach, someone to help you along this journey, because you can't see if your brake light is broken unless somebody tells you. the lone wolf gets eaten. And that's why I created the Facebook group called the Holistic Health Tribe. You want to click the link below and join. It's free for the next 250 people. So that's what I would say to you, right? Get around a group of people, focus on yourself, on your mental health, your physical health, and optimizing yourself to be a better version of yourself. So the next question is, or comment / question is, so this person has been sober for 52 days, but yet they feel like crap. And they ask, has anyone experienced depression after quitting? Now, feeling depressed after quitting is normal, because you're depriving something from your body that your body was growing dependent on. And yes, you're gonna feel addicted and you're gonna struggle with it. The first thing that I would say, you want to seek help and guidance from the Most High, because you always want to tap into the higher power, right? Because that is the creator of the planets, and he's gonna be able to guide you in which way is best for you. And so beyond that, you have to understand that depression after quitting is another thing you must be proactive to overcome. You have to be proactive to overcome it. So set a vision. What excites you? What do you want from your life? Your life shouldn't be about quitting alcohol. Your life should be about something. What are you here to do? What are your passions? What are your strengths? What are problems that you've solved in your life that you can help other people do, right? You want to work on yourself, your physical, your mental, your spiritual health, and you want to give yourself to the world, help people overcome their problems. And so if you don't know what you want to do in your life, be the best version of yourself and give that to the world. That should be at the bare minimum. And so set a vision. What excites you? Add more playtime. What makes you feel like you're enjoying yourself like a little kid? What brings you joy to your life? And you want to add more of that. Life is not about hardships always. Life is not about working. I feel like people work too much and they have to add more playtime. And so that's the next thing you want to do. The next thing, one second. I've been talking for like my third video. And anyways, you want to add more exercise, because exercise is going to help you release those feel good, those happy hormones. And you want to be proactive about that. Work out first thing in the morning. Work out when you're feeling depressed. Work out when you don't feel like it. That is the best time to do exercise, when you feel depressed, because when you're depressed, most likely you're operating more from your emotional brain. And so when you're operating more from your left brain, emotional brain, you tend to be more stressed, more cortisol, more depression. But when you do exercise, it switches more to your logical brain. And now you're operating more from strength, from being proactive, finding out what can I do about my situation, how can I fix it. Your depression goes down. So exercise is going to be one of the best things that you can do. Now, you want to eat more natural living foods instead of processed junk foods and other foods that you are not biologically adapted to eat. So if you want to find out more about that, watch my playlist on releasing unwanted weight. There's a certain diet that we are biologically designed to eat. When you deviate, all sorts of problems happen. Everything is off, from your weight, your stress levels, your behavior. Everything is off when you're not eating foods that you are biologically adapted to eat. So the next thing that you want to do is you want to fill your day up with activities that align with your mission and goal in life. What is it that you want to accomplish? And you want to get after it every single day. So those are my tips that I have for you. If you're liking it, hit the subscribe button. But I have one more question. So this is a comment, and I'm going to add my own to it. I'm losing patience listening to AA members blame their childhood and their parents for their character deflects. Blame, blame, blame. We want forgiveness from our children, but why don't we want to give it to our parents, right? So this is one of the things that you have to overcome when you want to lose weight or you want to overcome alcoholism. You have to stop playing the blame game. When you play the blame game, you're giving up your power. See, your parents, forgiving your parents is a lot about healing. Forgiving your parent gives you a lot of healing into your life. And so that's what you have to understand, that our parents, they did the best they could with what they had. they also had imperfect parents. You don't know what kind of traumas they went through. So no matter how bad your parents, or maybe they neglected you, they made you feel unloved, unwanted, unappreciated. Maybe you felt like you were the ugly duckling. Maybe you felt like they loved your siblings more. Those are hurts, and you have to forgive them for it because they also had imperfect parents, and they were trying to do their best. So they only do they only do what they were taught from their parents. Now the main three stages that people go through when they have parents is that the first stage is that they idolize them. They look up to their parents as if they're perfect, they can't do anything wrong. But then eventually they start to demonize their parents because they realize that their parents are not perfect. They have these flaws. They're making mistakes, and so they're shocked. They're like, how can this person who is perfect be doing this to me? But then eventually you realize that they can't help it. They're doing their best. Then you humanize them. Your parents are imperfect beings just like you are. You're not perfect. Your parents are not perfect. And so you have to realize that you can't be playing the blame game. You have to release and forgive them because they were stuck in their own trauma, their own hurts. And so if you want to have a healthy, thriving life, you have to forgive them. I'm not saying that you have to accept them into your life, that you have to try to make amends with them, but at least come to the peace to know that your parents, they were going through their own struggles, and they were doing their best, and you have to forgive them if you want healing. So when you blame others, you lose your power. When you blame others, you lose your power. And the reason I laugh is because I saw this quote. This guy said, "Don't play a victim with me. Playing the victim game doesn't work with me because I'm okay with being the villain in your story." See you on the next one.